sometime before sunset.
I'll be out for dinner, Daddy.
That's what you said 45 minutes ago. Now, come on. You know that my bathroom's out of order.
I can't go to school looking like an unmade bed, can I? Good morning, Daddy.
Good morning. Now, Jackie.
Be out in a minute, Pop.
One man against 3 women. You can't win. Oh.
Now, where is your father? Oh, there you are, Stu. I don't understand what takes you so long every morning.
I know. I should do better. Inasmuch as I have all of 4 minutes to shave, brush my teeth, and dress.
What are you going to wear to the masquerade, Pop?
Think I'll put on a clean shirt, a contented smile, and go as a bachelor.
They'd never believe you. You look too well fed. Adele's niece has a page boy costume I could borrow.
Carol Selkirk's mother's going as a pilgrim.
She does look a little like Miles Standish at that.
What a thing to say.
Or John Alden.
Oh, she does not.
No, of course not. John Alden didn't have a mustache.
Carol says her mother's going as a pilgrim because her sisters came over on the Mayflower.
Jackie, you mean our ancestors. Though having seen her sisters, it's quite possible.
I didn't know her family were early settlers.
Daddy, do you really think they came over on the Mayflower?
Joyce, if all the people who were supposed to have been on the Mayflower really were, they'd have had to put sails on Madison Square Garden.
Oh, well, what's so great about that anyway?
That's what I say.
Yeah, who cares?
I don't.
My grandmother used to say that our family dated back to Peter Stuyvesant.
Daddy!
Peter Stuyvesant. Stu, have you any proof?
Who was Peter Stuyvesant?
You never mentioned this before.
Who was Peter Stuyvesant? Did you ever have it traced? You know, by a geologist?
You mean a genealogist? Of course not.
Well, maybe we should.
Who was Peter, what's his name?
Peter Stuyvesant was the governor of New Amsterdam. And whether I'm related to him or not is not half as important as the fact that it is now 8:45.
Oh, jumping Jupiter, we'll be late for school.
Yeah, I'll get the car going. Hurry up, get your things together.
Bye, darling.
Goodbye, darling. You eat my cereal.
Hello, Mrs. Selkirk. This is June Irwin speaking. Oh, I'm just fine, thank you. Mrs. Selkirk, is it true that your ancestors came over on the Mayflower? Is that so? Well, just how did you go about finding out? Oh, you hired a genealogist. Well, would you mind giving me his name? John L. Wengrave. And the address? Why? Well, you see, my husband tells me he is a direct descendant of Peter Stuyvesant. Yes. Thank you. I think it's exciting, too. Goodbye. Stu. I found out it's true about the Selkirk's ancestors. They did come over on the Mayflower.
Good.
Of course, they didn't accept it as hearsay. They hired a genealogist.
Good.
His name is John L. Wengrave.
Uh-huh.
I wrote to him. About you, I mean. And he answered.
Good.
Here it is. Stu!
Huh?
Here's the letter from the genealogist.
The what? From the which?
The letter from Mr. Wengrave, the Selkirk's genealogist. I wrote to him.
Oh, what for?
To find out if you really are a descendant of Peter Stuyvesant.
I don't believe it.
Well, I don't either, really, but I thought we could find out.
I mean, I don't believe you'd do a thing like that.
Why not?
Why not? June, do you know how much it costs to make a lineage search?
Yes, $1 an hour. It says so right here in this letter.
$1 an hour, yes.
I thought it was inexpensive, too, considering what they're paying skilled labor these days.
Good heavens. Darling, you don't understand. A search like that, it takes months, perhaps years. It would cost a fortune. Now, let's drop the whole thing, okay?
No. Don't you think it's important to find out who your ancestor was?
A rich old uncle, yes. But Peter Stuyvesant, what am I going to inherit from him? His wooden leg?
Well, you might at least let me read you the letter.
Now, go ahead. Read me the part that's not about $1 an hour.
You must understand, however, that family history becomes exaggerated down through the years.
My grandmother was not prone to exaggeration.
And our first task is to separate the real from the rumor. Therefore, I'd suggest you contact any of the older members of your husband's family who may be still alive. Do think hard. There must be some old member of your family who'd know about this.
June, I insist that you end this thing right here and now. Frankly, I'm surprised at this sudden snobbery about ancestors.
It's not snobbery. It's just that I think you owe something to your children.
I also owe something to the mortgage company, the insurance company, and the Atlas Roofing Company.
Oh, someone's at the door.
Probably a bill collector.
Why, Mr. and Mrs. Selkirk, how nice.
Nice, my foot. Oh, oh, hello, Mr. and Mrs. Selkirk. How nice.
Mr. Irwin, Mrs. Irwin. I could hardly wait to see you both.
Well, sit down, folks.
Have you heard from Mr. Wengrave?
Well, yes, but you still...
Good, good. Oh, Mr. Irwin, I just pray that what you suspect is correct.
You mean being related to Peter Stuyvesant?
Precisely.
What if I am?
What if you are? Oh, tell him, dear.
Stu Irwin, don't you know that if all of this is correct, that your wife is now eligible for membership in the FAR?
FAR?
Why, Stu, that's the Friends of the American Revolution.
I know what it stands for, but as a matter of fact,
It stands for much more than that. It stands for tradition, prestige. Irwin, I don't mind telling you that it won't hurt one bit to have it known that the wife of our high school principal is a member of the FAR.
Just think, 2 members of the FAR, you and me, in a town as small as this.
Now, you get on the ball with that genealogist.
now, just a moment, Mr. Selkirk. Tracing my family history is going to run into a lot more money than I can afford.
Oh, we've thought of that.
We?
The town council.
Oh?
Frankly, we've been working on Jonathan Higby to endow a new library for this town.
That would be wonderful.
And the Higbees are really first families. Philadelphia, you know. Oh, they'd be terribly impressed.
So we feel that if this will help put us in the right light with Higby, we will show our appreciation to you in a very substantial way. Your cost would be more than taken care of.
Oh, it would be so nice for the girls. And if the council wants to pay for it...
Let me see that letter, June. Let me see. The council will pay for it, huh? Well, all right, we'll do it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You won't regret it.
Well, that's settled. We'll run along now.
I'll see you to the door.
Good night, folks.
Goodbye.
Contact any older member of the family may still be alive. Let's see. Lucius Irwin. He must be at least 80. We'll try and find him.
Wonderful. Oh, I'm so happy, darling. You won't be sorry. Wait and see.
Oh, I don't know, June. I once bought a block of worthless stock, and when I handed over the money, a little voice whispered, "Sucker."
Well?
Just had a flash from the same little voice. Same word.
Silly. Sucker.
He just said it again.
Everybody charge!
Come on, you. Bring on going on.
Uncle Lucius is telling us about the Battle of San Juan Hill. He was a Rough Rider, you know.
Oh, is that so? A Rough Rider, huh? Why, Uncle Lucius, weren't the Rough Riders composed mostly of men from the western states? Indians, cowboys, ranchers?
That's right.
Well, you were in New England at that time.
Well, you see,
Well, last night you told us you never left New England.
I did, eh? Well, how could I have said a thing like that? I guess I didn't tell you about going west in 49. The gold rush. Got the gold fever. And that's how I happened to be out west and joined up with the Rough Riders.
50 years later.
Yep. Time traveled fast in those days.
Oh, Daddy, let Uncle Lucius tell the rest.
Some other time, Jack.
Yes, Jackie, we have some things to discuss with Uncle Lucius. Willie, will you vacuum the bedrooms first this morning?
Yes, ma'am. Aye, sir.
Now, Uncle Lucius.
Jackie.
Golly, why can't I stay?
Well, we want Uncle Lucius to concentrate, without distractions. Go on.
Oh, all right. See you later, Uncle Lucius.
Now, Uncle Lucius, you know that we're happy to have you here with us. But there are some questions.
Let me tell you, I'm mighty glad to be here.
Please, Uncle Lucius, try to remember what you can about the family history. What do you know about the Irwins being related to Peter Stuyvesant?
Well, I can't rightly say, but that's what we heard when we were kids.
Well, did you know any Irwins who were famous?
Let's see. Famous. Yes, by George, you did have a famous relative.
Well, tell us about him. Who was he and how was he related?
Near as I can figure, he was a second cousin on your grandfather's side. Lemuel Adams Irwin. Ah, there was a man. I can just see him now.
Yes, but what did he do?
Why, people came from miles around, on horseback, in covered wagons, even on foot, to see him.
They did?
Yes, sirree. And let me tell you, hanging there from that tree, he looked just as big and bold as the day he stole his first horse.
A horse thief?
Children.
Oh, he was no ordinary horse thief, though. Why, it took a band of 40 men to round Lemuel up and twice as many to hang him.
Uncle Lucius, are you sure you're not just making this up?
Well, now, maybe it didn't take 40 men to hang him.
I'll never get in the FAR on that.
You'll be lucky if you stay in the church sewing circle. Look, June, what do you say we give this whole thing up?
Oh, Mr. Irvin.
Huh?
Special delivery letter.
Oh, especially? Oh, it's from that genealogist, Wengrave.
What does it say? It must be important to be sent at special delivery.
For what his letters cost, they ought to be written on white velvet. Let's see here.
What is it, dear?
There is some indication that one Hezekiah Stuart Irwin served in the Revolutionary Army under General Schuyler. Also that he spent his remaining years in the territory in which you now reside. Is it possible for you to get some proof? I would suggest one of the old cemeteries, as there may be a headstone from which you could get a lead.
It must be so. Hezekiah Stuart Irwin. Why, you're even named after him.
Uncle Lucius, think hard now. Did you ever hear of a Hezekiah Stuart Irwin?
Sure I did. Why, I remember hearing about him when I was a kid.
This is not another Rough Rider deal.
So help me, hon, if it ain't the truth.
It must be. Let's see. He'd be buried in that old cemetery outside of Brookside, wouldn't he?
Possibly. We'll make a search. But now look, June, not a word about this until we're certain. We still might end up laughingstocks, you know.
Oh, no, we won't. But I won't tell a soul, I promise.
Willie! Willie, come here a minute.
You called me, Mr. Irvin?
Yes, Willie, I have a job to do tonight. Will you help me?
Oh, yes, sir. Sure thing.
Oh, good. We'll get started right after dinner.
Yes, sir. What are we going to do?
We're going to the Brookside Cemetery.
Yes, I'll be ready. Cemetery? That's what he said, cemetery. I wonder who's dead.
We'll return to the Irwins in just a moment. And now, back to the Irwins.
Willie, you know there's plenty of room in here for two more.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Here, this looks like an old one. Hold the light over here. Hold it still, Willie.
I'm trying.
That's nothing.
Nothing there.
Willie, will you please walk on your own 2 feet?
Yes.
Here, hold the light on this one. Not on me, on this one.
Why did we have to come out here at night, Mr. Irvin?
Because I don't want to arouse any curiosity in case old Hezekiah is a fluke.
A fluke.
Never saw such a neglected place. We must be the first 2 people to set foot in here in years.
I sure hope we the same 2 people set foot out of here.
Oh, Willie, there's nothing to worry about or be nervous. Here, let me have the light.
Oh, you going to take the light?
Let me have it. I'll throw it over here. Willie, I found something.
Me too. Oh, excuse me.
Willie, I think I've found Hezekiah.
I think old Hezekiah's got me by the foot, Mr. Irvin.
Come here, Willie.
Wait a minute, Mr. Irvin.
Look, Hezekiah S.T.U. Irwin.
I hope he stays in there.
Willie, do you know what that means?
It means we can go home now.
Yes, just as soon as I get an imprint of the lettering on this brown paper. Here, hold this, quick.
What's that for?
Well, we have to have the name and date so we can trace old Hezekiah.
Is that trace necessary?
Yes, of course. Now, Willie, look, remember, not a word to anybody about our being here until we're sure this is our little secret, just yours and mine.
Yes. Now, you can have it. I wouldn't be caught dead in this place. What am I saying?
Hold the light still, Willie. Now, here we go. Mr. Selkirk, I don't want you to bank too heavily on this matter of my ancestors. I know it would impress Jonathan Higby, but so far we have no proof aside from a similarity of names.
I know. And we still have several days left before Higby gets here.
Oh, excuse me. Hello? Oh, hello, Jill.
Oh, Stu, the most wonderful news for Mr. Wingrave. He says, according to the records, Hezekiah Stewart Irwin was definitely your ancestor.
He was? There couldn't be any mistake? Oh, that's wonderful. A letter from Wingrave confirming the relationship.
Sensational.
And he says, a further search might even determine your relationship to Peter Stuyvesant. Oh, Stu, I have the most marvelous idea for our masquerade costumes now.
Fine. I'll call you back, honey. Mr. Selkirk's here with me. Yeah. Bye. You know, I can't help feeling a bit proud.
Naturally, and the whole town will be proud of you, too. Not to mention Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Higby.
And to think of a man like Hezekiah Stewart Irwin lying there in that neglected cemetery, covered over with brambles and tangled bushes. It's disgraceful. I'm going to have that grave taken care of.
You'll do nothing of the sort. We, the citizens of this town, will do that. We'll hold a memorial ceremony. And we'll invite the Higbys. That ought to make Higby know that this town is worthy of his new library. I'll get on it immediately. You just leave everything to me. You'll be proud of the homage that we'll pay to that brave soldier of the American Revolution.
I feel like something out of Gilbert and Sullivan.
You look real crazy.
Crazy? What's that?
Oh, real crazy's the new substitute for super duper.
Oh.
Why don't you walk over there, Dad, and we can get a real good look at you.
Well, take a look.
Hey, look.
Oh, how do I look in the white wig, dear?
Real crazy. Oh, June, I can't wear this thing to the masquerade tonight.
Why not? It's the dress of your ancestors. You should be very proud.
Huh? What is it, Willie?
Mr. Lucius done gone. Whew. My, Mr. Irvin, you look real fancy.
Thank you, Willie.
Mr. Lucius done gone, let the bathtub run over. I had to go up there and mop the floor before we get another flood, you know.
Now, that's the fourth time this week. Isn't there some way we can make him go home?
Oh, you don't have to worry about that no more, Mr. Irvin.
Huh?
He has packed up and left.
He has?
Yes, sir. He got his pension check through the mail. He said he was going and spend it.
Well, bless his heart. I hope he has a good time.
He was supposed to go to the ceremonies at the cemetery with us.
That's probably the real reason he left.
Come on, girls. We'll have time to try on your costumes before we go to the ceremonies.
Gee, Mom, why must I go?
Jackie, someday when you're old enough to understand, you remember the homage this town paid Hezekiah Stewart Irwin. After all, he was your ancestor, too.
Well, come on, let's go.
I'm sure this is one day none of us will ever forget.
Now, follow me, men.
My friends, we are gathered here today to pay a belated but deeply grateful homage to a man who fought bravely against fierce and seemingly unsurmountable odds to help in the battle for freedom. The freedom that we so well enjoy today here in these United States of America. In our daily struggle for existence, how many of us pause for one infinitesimal second to ponder the valiance of our predecessors?
There's Mr. Wingrave, your
That
genealogist.
small band of men who came to a new land, seeking freedom from tyranny, freedom from taxation without representation, and most of all, the freedom to worship as each man desired in his own religious way. I'm sure that I speak for all of us when I say that words cannot express the great pride that we take in our good friend and high school principal, Stewart Irwin.
Mr. Irwin,
Yes?
I must have a word with you. Later. I must speak with you now.
Stewart Irwin, the man to whom we pay tribute today. Paul Revere fighting time in his famous midnight
Yes,
ride
what
to
is it?
Mexico.
I'm John Wengrave. It's about Hezekiah Stewart Irwin.
Don't tell me I'm not related to him.
Oh, yes, you are. But perhaps when you hear about him, you won't be so pleased.
What do you mean?
I've just found out that Hezekiah Stewart Irwin was a Tory.
He gave vital information to the British.
What? And so it is my extreme pleasure to call upon a man whom we have known intimately for years.
That information almost lost a decisive battle that could have cost us the whole American Revolution. He was court-martialed.
Oh, no. I call upon our own Stu Irwin to tell us how he feels at this moment.
I wish I were dead.
Come, darling, they're waiting for you to speak.
Well,
Good luck.
thank you. Yes, Tom. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, until very recently, any relationship I may have had to early American heroes was just pleasant family legend. I can only say that I wish I'd let sleeping dogs lie, because this man, Hezekiah Stuart Irwin, whose name I bear in part, was a traitor to his country.
It can't be.
Yes, I've just learned that he was a Tory,
A Tory?
that he gave allegiance to the British.
How dreadful.
I'm sorry, but I didn't know until just now. But I cannot accept any laurels not due me. And any expense connected with this work I'll pay for.
I'll say you will. Oh, Mr. Higbee, Mrs. Higbee, you must understand that our fair city had no part in this deception. Shall we go?
I'm sorry if I've embarrassed you, June, but I had to tell the truth.
I'm proud of you for it, darling. We'll make our own family history.
You were right about one thing. None of us will ever forget this day.
Stu, I wish you'd stop acting like an arch criminal. After all, I started this whole thing.
Yes, Daddy, and what difference does it make what somebody did in 1771? Everybody knows you're very patriotic.
Of course, you were the best air raid warden this town had during the war.
It's not myself I'm concerned about. If only Higbee weren't mixed up in it. The new library is very important to this town, and now we've lost it, sure as fate.
Daddy, Mr. Higby's coming up the walk.
Well, tell that stuffed shirt I've joined the Foreign Legion.
Joyce, open the door for Mr. Higbee.
Oh,
You
now.
just stay here and talk it out with him.
Hello, Mr. Higby. Won't you come in?
And don't lose your temper no matter what he says.
Oh. Hello, Mr. Higbee.
How nice, Mr. Higbee. Won't you sit down?
Thank you, but I haven't had much time. We're leaving this evening. But before I go, there's something I want to say to Mr. Irwin.
Yes?
Frankly, when I came down here on Mr. Selkirk's invitation, I wasn't quite sure about endowing a library to this town.
And now you've made up your mind, eh?
You were the deciding factor.
I don't know what one individual has to do with it,
But I want to endow the library.
Wonderful.
why should I be held responsible for something that happened 300 years ago?
Stu.
And furthermore, during the war, I was the best air raid warden this town ever had.
Stu, you didn't hear what Mr. Higbee said.
Yes.
He's giving us the library.
He is?
Well, if you must know, when you got up there this afternoon and told the truth about your ancestor, when you could just as well have kept mum about it, I said to myself, Higbee, there's one man in a million. Of course, mind, Irwin. With that honesty, you may never have a million. But you've certainly got a lot of integrity. Yes, sir, a lot of integrity.
Thank you.
Confidentially, it's my wife who's first family. As far as I'm concerned, they're a bunch of tourists here on a one-way ticket.
You see, Daddy? Mr. Higby isn't such a stuffed shirt after all.
Well, I guess I'll be running along.
Won't you be able to stay for our masquerade ball?
No, thank you, I can't. But I want Irwin to go and make the announcement about the library for me.
Well, thank you, Mr. Higbee. Thank you very much.
You're the best, Mr. Higby.
Good night.
Good night.
Well,
Well, if this family's going to get dressed for the ball, I guess we'd better be getting started.
Right.
come on.
I wonder what's taking your father so long.
I thought he wasn't going to wear his costume.
Well, evidently he changed his mind.
That's Jackie.
What is it, darling?
Mommy, I saw it out there coming down the stairs.
Saw what?
Look. Oh, Stu!
Did someone call me?
Daddy.
Stu Irwin, what is the idea of that caveman costume?
This is one costume they can't say doesn't represent my ancestors. Shall we go?
Charmed. Why? Well, you see, my husband tells me he is a direct descendant of Peter Stuyvesant. Yes. Thank you. I think it's exciting, too. Goodbye. Stu. I found out it's true about the Selkirk's ancestors. They did come over on the Mayflower.
Good.
Of course, they didn't accept it as hearsay. They hired a genealogist.
Good.
His name is John L. Wengrave.
Uh-huh.
I wrote to him about...
Oh, having seen her sisters, it's quite possible.
I didn't know her family were early settlers.
Daddy, do you really think they came over on the Mayflower?
Joyce, if all the people who were supposed to have been on the Mayflower really were, they'd have had to put sails on Madison Square Garden.
Oh, well, what's so great about that anyway?
That's what I say.
Yeah, who cares?
I don't.
My grandmother used to say that our family dated back to Peter Stuyvesant.
Daddy!
Peter Stuyvesant. Stu, have you any proof?
Who was
Oh.
Peter Stuyvesant?
You never mentioned this before.
Who was Peter Stuyvesant?
Did you ever have it traced? You know, by a geologist?
You mean a genealogist? Of course not.
Well, maybe we should.
Who was Peter... what's his name?
Peter Stuyvesant was the governor of New Amsterdam. And whether I'm related to him or not is not half as important. Oh.
Now, where is your father? Oh, there you are, Stu. I don't understand what takes you so long every morning.
I know. I should do better. Inasmuch as I have all of 4 minutes to shave, brush my teeth, and dress.
What are you going to wear to the masquerade, Pop?
Think I'll put on a clean shirt, a contented smile, and go as a bachelor.
They'd never believe you. You look too well fed. Adele's niece has a page boy costume I could borrow.
Carol Selkirk's mother's going as a pilgrim.
She does look a little like Miles Standish at that.
What a thing to say.
Or John Alden.
Oh, she does not.
No, of course not. John Alden didn't have a mustache.
Carol says her mother's going as a pilgrim because her sisters came over on the Mayflower.
Jackie, you mean our ancestors. The fact that it is now 8:45.
Jumping Jupiter, we'll be late for school.
Yeah, I'll get the car going. Hurry up, get your things together.
Bye, Molly.
Goodbye, darling. You eat my cereal.
Hello, Mrs. Selkirk. This is June Irwin speaking. Oh, I'm just fine, thank you. Mrs. Selkirk, is it true that your ancestors came over on the Mayflower? Is that so? Well, just how did you go about finding out? Oh, you hired a genealogist. Well, would you mind giving me his name? John L. Wengrave. And the address?
To shave sometime before sunset.
I'll be out in a minute, Daddy.
That's what you said 45 minutes ago. Now, come on. You know that my bathroom's out of order.
I can't go to school looking like an unmade bed, can I?
Good morning, Daddy.
Good morning. Now, Jackie.
Be out in a minute, Pop.
One man against 3 women. You can't win.